Welcome back to ICW 2020. I'm David Guralnick, your conference chair and host for these few days. So thanks again for being with us. And welcome back to the afternoon session on Wednesday, June 10th. It's great to be here. I hope you enjoyed the morning session. We have a great afternoon session coming up. We're starting with an invited talk from Tim Brock of the ROI Institute on, fittingly enough, return on investment or ROI. We've got Larry Bograd on learning and performance, Patricia Behar on mobile learning and pedagogical architectures, Renee Hobbs on a create to learn model, and so much more. So hope you enjoy the next several hours as we're here through the afternoon Eastern time. First, I'd like to spend a little bit of time talking briefly about the use of stories in learning and scenarios. And there's long been a tendency in traditional education to focus on facts and memorizing facts. And that was a way of scaling up when there was first a need for mass education. And in a lot of ways, technology has worsened that. It's easy to get a score. You can ask people to take multiple choice tests and answer multiple choice questions. You'll know if they got 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 or 99 out of 100, and you can score and compare people, and organizations love to be able to do such things. And computers are really good at this, right? Computers are good at remembering facts. They're good at evaluating whether you answer multiple choice question correctly. So that's been the easiest thing to do, and we still see a lot of it. It's the path of least resistance. The paths of least resistance often win out. The path of lowest cost often wins out. But we are at a different time, as I mentioned this morning. We're at a time of opportunity to reimagine education, to fully popularize the use of methods that are more effective, more enjoyable. And one key tool is the use of stories, particularly concrete, specific experiences that someone's had. You can learn from an expert. You can learn what happened to them, what they did, how they encountered a difficult situation, how they overcame a challenge. Related to stories, the concept of scenarios, using, in this case, a lot of times real life stories that then are scripted. So you have a story that's happened, something that happened to somebody, and and it's not Tim Rocket. You have something that happened to somebody, and that's based on a real life story, and you script and design educational scenes around it, ask people to make complicated decisions, decide what to do in different situations, all kinds of things. And that's one of the things that we're looking to do, to talk about here at this conference. Now, we could hold an entire conference on stories and scenarios alone. And I mean, you never know, we just might do that someday. But for now, what I'm going to do is show a short scenario example. This could be from a course for attorneys in the US. And they can take this for continuing legal education credits, or CLEs. So it's a course that is for credit in that way, but it's also a course that people take for interest, and because they think it's interesting and relevant and that it helps them in their jobs. And the course focuses on working as a pro bono attorney, which means you're working for free, and they're usually either big firm attorneys who are working for free as a kind of a once in a while thing, or they're legal aid attorneys who generally work with pro bono clients. So they don't work for free, but they certainly don't get paid the way big firm attorneys do in general. This is a course for pro bono attorneys about how to work with pro bono clients. So someone's coming and getting your services for free. And there's a power dynamic. There are a whole lot of things that get covered in the course. The course was created by Kaleidoscope Learning for the Practicing Law Institute, which is also called PLI, here in New York, and that's the top legal education provider. A lot of the course follows a storyline in video with Ray Richardson, who's a fictitious big firm attorney, and Jane Wilson, who is his pro bono client. And the course participants, as the course goes on, are asked to evaluate Ray's decisions, suggest what he should do next, among other things, at various points in the course. So one thing we're going to do over the next couple of days is periodically check in with Ray and Jane and see how these activities work. These are activities that are done either in a group, in an online course, or sort of in an online course individually, but with a series of people, or done as a self-paced course. We're going to do that though today. We're going to spend some time with Ray and Jane and walk through an activity. So we're going to first today, we're going to see one clip from Ray and Jane. So we're going to see Ray and Jane's initial meeting. So let's take a look at Ray and Jane's initial meeting right now.
Again, Ms. Wilson, I'm Ray Richardson, and I'm the attorney who'll be looking into your case for you.
Thanks so much for seeing me. I'm just so torn up about this. I've barely slept since I got the letter. I took a sleeping pill, but that didn't help.
I'm here to help you, Ms. Wilson. Now, let's start by being clear about what we're doing. Okay, Legal Aid has asked me to take on your case to understand what happened, answer any questions you may have, and to put together our to-do list for the next meeting. Now, in order to help me do that, I need to understand what you're dealing with. So, can you tell me exactly what happened?
Well, I got this letter, an official document from the court, saying that my husband was divorcing me. I mean, he moved out 3 months ago, but this letter was so final, you know? And I didn't know it was coming. We haven't talked much lately. And the letter itself didn't make much sense to me.
Okay, well, let's talk through the petition. I have a copy right here. I've already read through it, so I'll be happy to walk you through it. Now, here's what your petition says. Your husband wants joint custody of the children and is asking for you to pay him child support.
He wants me to pay him. I couldn't afford that. He should pay. How will I be able to do this? I don't know what I'll do if I...
It's okay. Okay, that's just what he's asking for. It doesn't mean he's going to get what he wants. I'm here to represent your interests, but you do need to know that he's asking for support money from you. Plus, he's asking for you to pay your joint credit card debt.
That too? I really can't afford this. I can't believe he's doing this to me. This is unbelievable.
I know, Miss Wilson. People ask for outlandish things during divorce settlements, but it doesn't mean that it will happen, okay? My job is to try to understand the facts and to best represent you. But I do need you to understand what he's asking for. Now, he's also asking for you to pay the outstanding rent on your apartment and utility bills. But don't worry about that now. Just help me to fully understand the story, okay? People ask for all sorts of things in a divorce. It's just a part of the process.
Rent and utility bills too. He knows I can't afford any of this. He has more money than I do. He should be supporting me. This is so unfair.
Let's talk through the story, and then I can see how we can best respond to this letter, okay? Now, can you tell me about the events that led up to your current situation?
This is all just really hard to think about. But, okay, I know I need to do this. Let me start at the beginning. We met in high school, 10th grade. We sat right next to each other at a football game. I thought he was really funny. We started dating, and everything was fine until sometime last year. I really don't know what happened.
It's okay, Miss Wilson. I know this is difficult. Would you like a tissue?
Thank you.
Just take your time.
Okay, so when I got pregnant with Carly, we had to get married. Well, we knew we wanted to, but maybe not that soon. But we both had to work if we wanted to support a baby.
I understand.
This was junior year. We quit high school after the first semester. Well, really, we quit before final exams the first semester because we knew we had to find jobs anyway, or at least try to. I've done some waitressing, but I haven't been getting a lot of shifts lately. I can barely get by. Rick was always the one bringing in the money for us. And now he wants me to support him. How does he think I can do that? He knows that's crazy. And he's the one who moved out. He should pay.
I'll do all I can to help you, Miss Wilson. Can you tell me what your husband does for a living?
Well, at the restaurant where I waitress sometimes, they have a lot of private parties. Rick works security during those parties.
So officially he works for the restaurant then?
Yes, just in a different part. He works in a party room in the back. He does okay financially, much better than I do. He always worked a lot of hours. They always need a good security guy. They have a lot of parties. People do sometimes get drunk and out of control.
I understand. And so his income is mostly in cash then?
Exactly. He gets a small salary, but he mostly gets paid in cash. The people who have the parties are always asked to pay him in cash. Plus, he gets a lot of extra tips, especially if he has to break up a fight or something. He likes cash payments. He says that way he doesn't have to pay taxes. More money for us, he used to say.
What about these bills your husband mentions? Are these still outstanding?
We still owe the gas bill. There's no way I can pay for it myself with Rick gone. He always brought in most of the money for us. Plus, when he left, he wrote a couple of bad checks using our joint bank account. So now I owe fees there too.
And I can't get my own account. I tried, but since my name is on the account with the bad checks, the other banks don't want me. And he's just running around with all of his cash. And he doesn't give me any money for the children.
Okay, I definitely want to talk to you about the kids in a moment, but let's wrap up these bills first. So you owe the gas bill and bank fees. Do you owe any other bills?
Okay, so we saw Ray and Jane, and we saw them, interacting. And as it turned out, you may or may not caught everything that went on in that scene as a non-lawyer. I know I certainly didn't, but Ray did some things well, some things maybe a little less well. This was not designed for him to be absolutely perfect, but it was overall a pretty good initial meeting. And so as the course goes on, there's some expert analysis about how Ray did. But there also are other activities that take place. What we're going to do is say goodbye to Ray and Jane for now, and we'll come back to them tomorrow morning and pick up their story. But what I did want to point out is this is realistic, it's dramatic, it's realistic based on real stories. So when our team interviewed subject matter experts, they did not have this particular story. This exact scene did not come up, but this was made from and created from, to make certain points, the kind of stories that happen in real life stories that they did glean from the experts. And so that was kind of how the process worked and generated a realistic and really, really helpful and dramatic video. I think people tend to watch this and feel a little bit moved, and they really want to go after that Rick guy. He didn't even pay his taxes. So you get kind of an emotional response a lot of times when we'll see this. Video scenarios can be expensive to produce, but they don't always have to be, especially these days. Video production is not nearly as expensive as it used to be. Good acting is certainly, always a challenge to find good actors who can do this, and we're really lucky here to have really good actors. But there's always something, and it's well worth it. A lot of times, the return on investment on a video investment can be really high. So the ROI can be really high. And the concept of ROI leads me to our next speaker, who's here as an invited speaker, and that's Tim Brock. Tim is the Director of Consulting Services at the ROI Institute here in the US, which is the leading source of ROI competency building, implementation support, networking, and research. Tim has helped organizations implement the ROI methodology in over 60 countries. He serves on the faculty of the UN System Staff College in Turin, Italy. He's a published author. He's a regular conference speaker, educator, consultant, so many other things. As often is the case, we don't have enough slides to fit all the things and all the qualifications and credentials that Tim has, but here are just a few. And so on that, we're going to go to Tim's talk, Designing E-Learning to Deliver Results. So we're going to roll a little intro, and then we'll turn it over to Tim.